Hello, everyone. Today's episode is going to be about my experience in rehab, how I ended up going to rehab. I even have a little journal here that I kept the entire time I was in rehab. I wrote every single day. People were like, "Oh my God, this guy is like gonna be such a good writer. He's gonna be like such a good reporter. He just loves to write." No, my anxiety loves to write. The anxiety I had in that place was through the roof. But I mean, it did bring some good. So rehab came about when we had an ice over in we had in Texas. Ice just completely was everywhere. And the night that it iced, I had gotten really messed up, and I for some reason was convinced that my dad had like called the cops on me. I have no idea why. That's just what happens when you're under the influence. So I was convinced that my dad had called the popos on me. So I took off running. Like I literally ran down the stairs, didn't even bother with the elevators. At the bottom of the stairs, I guess I realized that my boots were heavy. So my docks. So I took them off literally at the bottom of the stairs. Like they look so neat. And then I just took off running. And all I remember is I kept slipping because it was the night that it was freezing over. And like at the stoplights and stuff, I was just like slipping and like busting ass. It was insane. And I ended up running to. I used to work at this place where I would take care of dogs overnight, and I had actually lost that job because I relapsed at that job, and they quickly noticed, and I ended up getting fired. But anyways, I ran there because the owners of that place, they had been known to take people in that weren't in the best situations, and so I'm just standing out there at like 2 3 a.m. in the morning, just pounding on the door trying to get in, and nobody was answering. Of course, I'm sure they couldn't even hear me, because got that TV on and they're like all the way in the back. So, and then I realized how cold I was getting. I was getting really freaking cold. So there's this little place called it's slipping my mind, but it's like a little rehabilitation center. So that place I knew was open. So I was like freezing and I was like desperate to like get inside to like get warm because it was getting really cold outside. So I ran inside this rehabilitation center, and immediately they were like, well, "What's wrong with you?" Because I had like no shoes on, no jacket. I was freezing my ass off, and they like I can't even like talk. I remember that much. I was like so cold that I couldn't even get a sentence out. So they brought me like a sandwich and a coffee, like a hot coffee. And I asked them like, "Can I stay here tonight?" Drunk as hell. And they were like, "Well, if you do, we have to like admit you." And that was enough. Like even messed up me was like, I'm okay, because I had a really bad experience at an inpatient hospital once. So I was like, okay, well, I'd rather not do that. And they were like, well, is there anywhere we can take you? And I was like, well, to the QT, the gas station right down the road. So there was a police officer there for some reason, and he ended up giving me a ride to the QT. And then at the QT, I called my dad. My dad came and picked me up, just pissed. I mean, duh. And he told me, he was like, Dylan, you have to go to rehab. Like, if you want to continue living here, you're going to have to go to rehab. And I was like, well, damn. So that's how that journey started. I, so I had to go home. I had to do a bunch of research on a bunch of different rehabs. And my dad was really pushing me to go to a 6 month program, which I don't know about y'all, but I was like, I don't think I can do that. It was at Salvation Army too. I mean, no shade. I'm sure maybe, if it works, it works. But for me, 6 months was not gonna work. I know that sounds so like stupid and so like oh, I know all the answers. I don't, but I felt like I really knew that answer in that moment. I was like, I'm not going to no 6 month rehab. So I did my research and I found like some other little opportunities, talking like it's a job, other opportunities. And one of them I was like doing research on, and I called the lady, and the lady was like, hello. And I was like, hey, are y'all like admitting people? And she was like, I can call you back and let you know when a bed is available. I'll take your name. I was like, okay. And I was like, can I bring like whatever I want? And she was like, you can bring like whatever bathroom stuff you want, whatever clothes you want, whatever. Obviously there's limitations, but I was like because I was already in the mindset like, if I have to go here, like I'm might as well make the most of it, right? And so I do that. I call my dad. I tell him about it. And literally, right as we get off the phone, they call me back and they're like, "We have a bed." And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Wait." I was like, "Oh no, 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 not yet, not yet." And I was like, can I get back to you?" And she was like, sure, but it's gonna fill up fast." And I was like, "Hmm." So then, like, literally, I sat there for 20 minutes and I was like, "Dylan, either way, you're gonna have to do something or you're gonna get kicked out." So then I called them back. I was like, "Okay, I'll take it." Listen, if I can go to rehab, any of you motherfuckers can go to rehab. You think you've seen a pussy before? Oh my God! Right, the whole point of me like bringing this out is so I can read you day by day, over a course of a few episodes, like my experience. So y'all are gonna learn if I can go to rehab, any of y'all can go to rehab. So anyways, I was like talking to this random. No, I was talking to this guy like in the midst of it, and I remember we went to go see that the second Avatar movie, and the entire time, like he was having the time of his life, and the entire time I'm sitting there like rehab, rehab, rehab. Like wow, I'm not gonna have this in rehab. They don't got no AMC in rehab. So I was just like trying to make the most of it. And I remember the night before I went. This is when we were living in a one bedroom still, so I was sleeping on the pull out couch at my dad's place, and I was watching like an animated Transformers cartoon movie, and I was so scared to go to sleep because I was like, oh my God, I was like 28 days. I was like, I don't want to leave. I remember when my dad first told me I had to go, I told him I would rather myself than go to a rehab place. And obviously, I didn't do that. And I was just being really melodramatic. But so I just remember that night before, and then the morning of, my dad takes me, and it was, I remember I kept listening to Lord I Need You by Kanye West a lot because that song was like really like speaking to me at that time of my life. And he's just like driving me to rehab, and uh we get there like a little bit early. My dad's always early. He's always like on time, ahead of time for things. So then we're just sitting out there, and I start like dry heaving because I'm like so nervous. I was like, oh fuck me. I was like, this is actually it. Like this is actually happening. And keep in mind, this is like a state funded rehab facility. So when we're pulling up, it looks like we're like about to have to fight for our lives. Like all the homeless people, there's like a line of homeless people, literally Skid Row, but make it Arlington, Texas. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, what is going on? There's going to be so many scary homeless people in here because, like, hot meal, place to sleep, like, they'll take it. You know what I mean? Like, no shame, no shame, but a little bit spooky for me. So I was like, whatever. And then finally, they opened the doors, and I brought one of my little stuffed animals with me, like a little tiny one, because they said I could bring one, and I know grown ass man bringing a stuffed animal, but y'all, I was doing what I could to just like find some kind of comfort in the whole situation. So I bring my little stuffed animal in, and my dad helps me bring my suitcase and my bag in. And y'all would think I was going to Cabo with the amount of stuff I was bringing in, and they didn't say anyways. I had outfits on outfits because I was like, if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be the fucking Winona Ryder of this place. I swear to God. And so he's helped me bring my stuff in, and then like as soon as he gets to the door, they're like, oh, he can't be in here. And I just remember looking back at him just like, we had already hugged, and him just like waving goodbye, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die here. I was like, this is it. Like, daddy, please. I was like, oh my God. So anyways, I'm being really nice and respectful to everyone because I always am, and I really don't think they were used to that there. I know that sounds like a little narcissistic, but I really don't think they were nice to or used to someone just being like so casually nice in that situation. I also had like crazy anxiety, so they like made me take all my clothes, even the clothes I was wearing, and put them in a dryer to get like bugs and stuff off. And it's like me and like 8 other people, right? They have to tell one guy that he can't come in because he has COVID. I said, COVID in the same room as me? I never had that shit. And I was like, oh, here we go. So, but they sent his ass out, right? They were like, well, you can't be here. And he like had a conniption. And I was like, bro, like take my spot. No. But I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And then I have to get all my clothes. And like me, me, like I'm out there, I'm like by the dryers, like folding all my clothes like individually. Cause like I just dried that shit. I'm not gonna let it wrinkle in there. I was like, I don't know what the whole washing machine situation was in there. So that takes a while. And then finally I sit down, and that's where this comes into play, y'all. Here goes nothing. Y'all, I have not read this shit since I I don't think I've ever reread this. This was February 8th, 2023. That was almost 3 years ago. That's more than 3 years ago. Quick math. But I was at Pine Street. I could not remember what that place was called to save my life. Pine Street. Random little note before I read this. There was this really nice lady that worked there at the rehab. Me and her were like cutting up, right? And then one day, when I relapsed, shocker, spoiler, when I got like a year out of rehab, when I relapsed, I was like really fucked up and took an Uber to like this guy's house that I was talking to on Grinder. And then when I was leaving, like, I had that like crazy look, that feral look. And I saw her and she like stopped and looked at me, and it was like 6 in the morning. She was on her way to work. I was on my way back home. And we like looked at each other, and I was like, is that? And she was like, is that? And then it was just really embarrassing because I think she could tell I was like messed up. But anyways, first of all, okay, what's it called, scrapbooking. Look at my handwriting though, that shit was great. Let me tell you, I had the time to make sure I was getting that shit right. Okay, here we go. This is insane. I can't believe I'm reading this. Keep in mind, this is encouragement for people that really feel the fear that I felt going into rehab. Like I said, I told my dad I would rather myself than do this. So this isn't like a gloating thing. This isn't like a, ooh, look what I did kind of thing. This is like a, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And going through my thought process while reading something I wrote 3 years ago that I haven't read since, I feel like it's going to give some good insight into where maybe some other people out there are feeling, Because to be honest, I went to rehab not of my own free will. I went because I wanted a place to live. My dad forced me. I tried to convince myself at one point that I went because I truly wanted to. That's just not the case. Like, that's literally not what happened. I didn't have that strong of a will. So obviously grateful to my dad for that. Shout out, Dad. Um, but yeah, so this is February 8th, 2023. Starts off strong. Well, you're in rehab. I decided to go ahead and skim through my past entries before I started writing this new one. First mistake, Dylan. First motherfucking mistake. At least I can say that through everything, you had hope, motherfucker. Some of that shit was spot on inspirational, and I have to believe I still have that in me. I know I do. You've gone pretty ballistic the last few times that you've drank. You mentioned in an earlier entry that you were scared of hurting someone the same way that you hurt my ex. We'll call him Brian. Well, you did it, and this time it was your dad. You were finally given the ultimatum of rehab or homelessness. A part of me likes to think that's not the only reason why I'm here, though. A part of me knows it. See, that's what I just said. I'm like, where's my time machine? Even day one of rehab, I was like, oh, if it was my choice, I would not be sitting here for hours. By the way, I'm sure I'm gonna get to that. They had my ass sitting there for hours. All the 8 other people, they were getting to go up. They were getting checked out. They were getting to go lay down in their new bed. I was sitting in that room like twiddling my thumbs, writing. This is so embarrassing. Why was I writing like this? So what's going on, man? You're here, you made it, you're still pretty fucking scared. You feel so goddamn guilty for the horrible, nasty things that you said to your mom, my dad's girlfriend, and my dad. That forgiveness won't come easy, and I'm talking about self-forgiveness. I think everyone around me is already going through the process. Maybe you should try to follow, not too far behind. Isn't that the kicker? The self-forgiveness part. Everyone around you just gets so used to what you do and what you've done and how you act, and you're very not surprising mistakes that you continue to make, your cycle, and then it's you that's left there like, well, fuck, like these people are just moving on and I'm still here like trying to process why I was so nasty towards these people. Oh, okay, remember that guy that I said I went to the movies with and saw Avatar 2, and the entire time I was like, oh, I can't enjoy this because I'm going to rehab. We're going to call him Zach. Want to talk about Zach? Yeah, you fucking do. Why was I writing? This sounds like this is going to end in XOXO Gossip Girl. Yeah, you fucking do. What a effing guy, man. unlike any other person that you've ever met or dated before. Where's my time machine? I need to go have a little chat. That ain't the truth. He's so sweet and caring. I'm gonna try my hardest to not F this up. He's extremely precious, and he does not deserve to be hurt by you. I mean, he's not a bad guy. I mean, he is in a way, I guess, well, he is a sweet guy. Still continues to try to reach out to me to this day, by the way, but the flashbacks of what I was going through at that time. When you get out, is her name Christine? I guess it is. When you get out, Christine Polachecki's new album will be out. It releases on Valentine's Day. I think the song I'm most excited for is the song with Grimes, because I already know that shit is going to go hard. Okay, see, y'all, I was writing anything. I was waiting to get sent upstairs. I really was looking forward to that album, though, and I was really disappointed. But anyways, honestly, watch it be a bad song. That would suck. I'll be getting out just in time for Miley's new album, which I'm actually super glad that I've only heard that one song so far. Even with that one song, it still kind of feels like the album can go in any direction. Y'all, what? I was sitting here thinking about Miley Cyrus. I'm also really looking forward to seeing the new Ant-Man movie when I get out. That is my downfall if I've ever read it. That movie was one of the worst Marvel movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And the worst part is my dad was like, I actually enjoyed that. Oh, you didn't enjoy Barbie? You didn't enjoy Wicked? So I just met with the lady who assessed me. She hyped me the fuck up. She told me the hardest part was just walking through those doors and that the world changed when I walked in, shifted to focus on me. That was pretty powerful because I hadn't thought about it like that. She said this program isn't meant to make me feel comfortable, that it's meant to not make me want to come back. I won't come back. This is my last chance. You got this. Talk soon, Dylan. Um... She told me the hardest part was just walking through those doors and that the world changed when I walked in, shifted to focus on me. Alcoholics addicts in general get a bad rep for being extremely selfish because we are. And then when it gets flipped onto its head, in regards to you being selfish for your well-being, then it turns into like like I feel really selfish. I feel like a bad person. I feel so conceited. No. Like that woman told me, I remember her so vividly. She said this, the hardest part was walking through the doors. And remember when I said earlier, looking back at my dad and just seeing him just walk away, and then I was just like there, you know what I mean? I know I'm making like light of it. I mean, but it really was like terrifying. It was so scary. And sometimes I have to look back and really recognize that, because it's like we are our own biggest haters, and sometimes I really have to sit down, and for everyone too, you just have to look back and just like think, wow, I really got through that situation. Wow, I really had the strength to continue that journey. You know what I mean? Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and read day 2, and then after that we'll wrap it up, and then we'll do day 3 and 4 on the next video. But there was something I wanted to say, I can't remember. I'm kind of having fun. I mean, fun, as much fun as I can. It's also a little bit weird, February 9th, 2023, Pine Street. Well, you actually slept pretty damn good on your first night here. Knock on wood. Right now, you're waiting on morning group, and then you get to tear up some coffee. The plan is to lose that drinking weight you built up right before coming in here. Those motherfuckers loved me, y'all. I only ate dinner, breakfast, and lunch. I said, not really feeling it. I was so skinny. I was like literally like everyone loved me. I was like handing out. I was like the fucking, no disrespect, the Pope. I was like, here, for you, for you, for you. I was determined. Today will be your official first full day. Your roommate is super badass and will actually be the president of the meeting soon enough. It's already taking some getting used to, but not in a bad way. I think having this daily journal will be great for me in the long run. Definitely was, and was definitely for my anxiety. I had a really cool roommate. Unfortunately, me and him did stay in contact after. We Our whole thing was we would stay up because we had to go to bed at a certain time, 8 p.m. every night, or lights had to be off at least. So me and him would stay up talking for 2 hours, just like laying in bed, like opposite side of the room, just like staring at the ceiling, talking, and we got to know so much about each other. And the thing with this guy is he had schizophrenia, and that played really heavily into his drinking. So a big part of me being in rehab, which, listen to this, everyone, that I was so grateful for was that I had somewhere to go after I finished the program. There was a lot of people there that didn't have that. There's a lot of people there that were, I would say, fighting for spots in sober living houses, really wanting to get in together, really not caring for the other person, just wanting it for themselves, which is fine. Like I said, it's good to be selfish in this kind of situation. But it was sad. It was really sad. Um, and this guy, he ended up getting into a sober living house, and we stayed in contact after, all of us got out. He got out a little bit earlier than I did, like a week or something. And I just remember that we had made plans to go see a movie, The Pope's Exorcism or something like that. And I could tell something was going on with him, like over the phone, like he was talking really weird. And I'd asked him if he took his meds, and he just wouldn't answer me. And then he ended up calling me crying, like the next day, and we were supposed to see the movie, in his car, telling me that he had relapsed, and was telling me that he didn't know how to make the voices go away. And he said he was sitting in his car outside of a Target, I believe, because he was so scared to go back to the sober living house because he knew everyone would know and he would get kicked out. So he was sitting in his car, and he said that there was a woman with a chicken. And I was like, a chicken? I was like, at Target? I was like, there's no chicken at Target. And he was like, don't tell me there's no chicken at Target. He was like, I see a chicken at Target right now. And he told me he was going to go check out this chicken. And then he like hung up on me. And then I never heard from him again. I did reach out many times, even after I got my new number. I was like, hey, this is Dylan. We went to Pine Street together. We were roomies. And I just never really got to find out what ended up happening with him. And it sucks. You spend 30 days locked in one building doing the same thing every single day with someone. You start to care for people. And I just really wish I knew what happened to that guy. You know, I really hope things got better. And I really hope that he ended up becoming a chef like he wanted to. And, or that he already was. I hope he got back into that, is what I mean. I hope he got to be a chef again and is on his meds, and, the voices stopped, and he found a way to be sober. Okay. I guess this is a time jump. I was able to tear up some coffee today, or I was able to tear up some coffee today, which was a effing blessing. Drank that shit up, knock on wood, but everyone I've met so far has been extremely nice to me, which is such a blessing. Honestly, I feel like this is gonna be not that hard. I'm just pushing through some of my everyday anxiety right now. I keep saying knock on wood, but knock on wood, man, shit could be so much worse. I'm so grateful that they let me bring Prince in with me. Prince was the little stuffed animal that I had that I mentioned earlier. Getting to hold him last night was exactly what I needed. Along with the super nice guys, it makes things feel so much cozier here. I think I'm really nervous about getting these Lana lyrics tatted on my wrist. Or no, I think I'm really serious about getting these Lana lyrics tatted on my wrist. Summer comes, winter goes, spring I skip, God knows. I even had that shit wrote out right there. I remember, oh, what name did I give him? Brian. I remember Brian asking me what the fuck those lyrics even meant to me. And honestly, I can't put it into words, but they just effing resonate, man. My life fluctuates with the seasons slash weather. I mean, everyone's does, but I'm trying to be poetic and shit. I'm also still really debating getting on getting an I feel like Pablo tattoo on my forearm. Didn't get on my forearm, got it on my fucking knee though. But I should definitely give that one time, like a few months before I make that decision. I did. I will say that. I got it done by a coworker that I just met at the job with the dogs. And she was trying to be a tattoo artist, so I let her do it in my room. All clean needles, by the way. I watched her open that shit. It was just the getting through it part that was hard. I've met this really cool guy named, oh wow. Call him Sean. I've met this really cool guy named Sean. His skin is quite literally yellow and he's having severe liver problems. And guess what? He's only been drinking for 5 years and he is so incredibly sick already. It's really a lot for me to think about because throughout AA, I was always told how I started so late in life and how I hadn't been drinking for long. That it was good that I was catching it at my age. I always thought that was a very kind but also very obvious thing to say. I met Sean and it became very clear. The way I drank, that future was not very far off from me. My binge drinking. So there's this guy who wasn't there for long with us. They ended up having to literally take him to the hospital, but he was in a wheelchair and his skin was completely yellow from liver failure. And I just remember, I mean, he had a really hard time getting about, and I remember he said he was going there because his dad said that he just simply needed to go. And I can't fully remember his story, but I think it was he was just drinking clear liquor every day for like enough time for your body starts shutting down like that. And one day they just told us, yeah, he's not coming back, and they had to take him somewhere, and I don't know what happened to him. So that sucked too. You know, he started the same time I did, and I remember we were sitting in the cafeteria together before they got all of our stuff organized, and it was just me and him, and he liked a lot of the things I liked. He was a really cool guy. So I really hope he's doing okay, and I hope that um his his health got better. I am lucky in a lot of ways. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to have the mom that I do, and I'm lucky to be able to recognize that I have no right to be upset towards my dad, but that I also can find a way to forgive him, just like how he is forgiving me right now. I love you so much, Dylan. And then I did a little, did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? Oh, right there. So that was my day 2. I think I'm gonna leave it off right there for now. Crazy stuff, y'all. I really haven't read that stuff back. You know how, I mean, it was a good experience overall, rehab, but you know how you just block some stuff out, you know, because the reality is, all the people that I got really close with in there, like this, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I have a branding on my wrist that me and 2 other guys did with the paperclip and the lighter in the bathroom. Like, I know, crazy stuff, but we were all close, really close. And then just some of the stuff that I heard about what happened to the majority of them after we got out, including me, was just being in rehab and being told a lot that, because it was my first time, and just, this correlates with the AA thing where they would always tell me, oh, you're so young. You start so late you started so late in life. When I was 13, I was drinking 8 bottles, shit like that. It was like that in rehab, but less heavy. Just like, oh, this is your first time and it's gonna be your last time. Like, everyone really had full confidence in me. And I think about that a lot. And, yeah. But, anyways, so this is gonna be until I finish, get all the way through the 28 days. Just for talking points, because I started my channel on New Year's Eve 2025, and I just wanted to, I started this as a place for me to be able to be open and to let down my walls that I have built up over the past few years on my journey to sobriety. Um, because like I said in the journal, like, I'm worried about hurting people, and I'm worried about, you know, yeah. So I feel like this is good. Yeah, I feel like this is really good. To be honest, this was kind of a trial run. See how this video is gonna go, but I think this was good. Anyways, I love you all so much, and please know you are not alone. There are groups of people out there. There are organizations. There are so many options for you, and there's rehab. If I can do it, you can do it. Um, I hope that over the course of me going through this journal, that I'll be able to soothe someone's mind. Someone. Maybe rehab isn't for you. I don't know, but maybe you're curious about what it could have been like if you had went. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever reason you're here for, just know that you're loved and you're in a safe space, and that you are not alone. And someone loves you very much. And you have a great day, okay?